Next video we're gonna be watching is, of course, the amazing Jim Stephanie fucking Sterling. The latest Jimquisition. I was 100% right about the stupid live service Gold Rush. Yeah. This fucking live service shit, I swear. Like, it was predicted so long ago that it was not going to work. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Tiny side step to the left.
Nasty. Right. I knocked this down from over there before I was filming. It's a Ganondorf. Pretty good.
God.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I had money,
Hello everyone.
if I had a place big enough for that kind of thing, you know I'd be getting pinball machines.
Because I was out late last night and can't be bothered to fix my makeup. Seriously, I look like I was fucked behind the bushes.
Oh my god.
Behind the bushes. Oh god, it's really bad in here. Fuck. Anyway, I have this. That's for today's show and tell. A plush Tamagotchi that turns inside out.
What? Oh my god. Had one of those arcade DDR machines. Those are so cool. Like, I would literally, if I'm able to get like my own
pundit and expert.
If I was, sorry, I'm trying not to talk over them. If I am ever lucky enough to get my own place with enough room to literally just have one huge room and turn it into like an at-home fucking arcade, I would. Like, that would be, oh god, so chef's kiss.
Size does matter.
This graphic represents a turning point in the history of video games as a business. Outside of the video series you're watching now, it's rarely seen anymore, despite the significant distaste it rightfully earned when the public first ever saw it. Though gaming culture has largely forgotten this image, I never have, because its significance is underrated but should never be underestimated. Published by Ubisoft in the mid-2010s, this image represents the answer every desperate profiteer has been looking for. The ultimate
I'll go one step further and put the waterfall in the arcade room.
Lie of eternal financial growth. It's the game as a service, and as the graphic plainly shows, it's a perfect circle. The perfect circle, designed to spin until the end of time and generate its promised recurrent profit forever. It is, in all its fiendish brilliance, the Ouroboros of avarice. It's also a fantasy. A short-sighted, naive, fucking stupid fantasy that deluded corpos readily swallowed as they jumped aboard the gravy train that would be known as the live service.
Ooh, nasty.
Corporations
My mom would be so proud that I had a waterfall in the arcade room.
That grows forever to keep their self-entitled investors hooked
so
on the
proud.
line. But with live services, it was the publishers taking the bait. Truly believing that live services were the perfect circle of recurrent profit, they flooded the market with online
God, I hate this
games
so
that
much.
traded
It's
a
so
complete
fucking
experience for an
like I heard this recently, but it's a shitty game. But even without that, it's like, it's still bad. But like, what is it called? It was like Crossfire X or some shit, something like that. Like, it's being taken off of Game Pass, but I think it's being taken down everywhere. But not only is the online being taken down permanently, but because it's a live service and it's connected online all the time, you can't even play the campaign of it. It's a shitty game. But at the same time, if you paid for that game, you can't even play the campaign. Yeah, the only reason I even heard of it is because not only is it on Game Pass, but because Angry Joe, the Angry Joe show, like they did a thing about it. They tried playing it. That's the only reason I know about it. But yeah. But it's like, even if it is a shitty game, you can't play even the campaign. Think about that. Like, you paid for a game, and now you can't play it anymore. Even the part that shouldn't be online. It's fucked up. It's just fucked up. It was bound to fail from the very beginning.
An open-ended and unfinished structure, one promising constant content built on grinding and fueled by DLC, microtransactions, battle passes, and other sources of so-called recurrent revenue. So how is that flood doing? Has the perfect circle continued to spin, or has it fallen off like the wheel of a cartoon jalopy? I'll give you a hint. I was completely 100% in the fucking right years ago when I said the live service gold rush was fucking unsustainable and built on a fallacious reverie. In other words, all aboard the knackered jalopy. The game industry was rocked, for want of a more accurately descriptively underwhelming term, by the news that multiple live service games were given the axe in a single week. The death toll is quite large and seemingly in progress, with a list that includes Apex Legends Mobile, Battlefield Mobile, Crime Site, Crossfire X,
there it is, Crossfire X,
Knockout City, and Rumbleverse. That's quite a toll. And remember, this is just the past week. Crime Site. All these shutdowns follow a veritable killing spree that Square Enix has been on and that we've covered more than once this year already. Oh, and don't
that's
worry,
what I'm saying.
Square
Like,
Enix got in on the fun this week.
That's what I'm saying. Oh shit, we're getting into Square Enix. It's like, yeah, I understand if you have to eventually shut down like online stuff, but if there's a way to save like the campaign or what should be playable offline, that should already be built into it from the get-go. It's like, quit with this always online bullshit. It's not sustainable at all. It never was. It was just a bad idea from the beginning. Also, rumbleverse is also like new. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you don't have the numbers, you're not going to be able to stay online. Like, they're not going to be able to keep the servers up and shit. If they're not making a certain amount of money, they get shut down. And that's the crazy thing about the video game industry this day and age. If they don't have the numbers, they shut down and you can never play the fucking game again. It's like, it's just poof, gone. Like, unless someone finds a way to like keep it alive by pirating or some shit.
Week 2, sending some fucking Dragon Quest spin-off or other to the same
Might legit cry when Final Fantasy XIV dies sometime in the next 80 years.
Default Mobile, Chocobo GP, and the service side of Marvel's Avengers. Square Enix, the Netflix of gaming.
Did you see, sorry I'm pausing so much, but did you see, like, some people were making fun of it, even though it's like, it's a fucking I told you so moment. We're making fun of, like, when they announced the Marvel game, the Avengers game, they were like trying to say they had like this, I don't know how many fucking years it was, 20, something unbelievable. No one really believed. Like how they had this plan of always like keeping it online and always updating it, and they had this big plan to keep it years and years and going. And now it's like, nope, shut it down. No updates. No.
Strikes again. This epidemic of live service shutdowns certainly put Square Enix's recent behaviour into perspective. A few videos back, I theorised that perhaps Square had figured out that jizzing live services over everybody's faces hadn't quite worked the way it hoped, and it was jettisoning all the failed attempts to ride the gravy train. It seems this is a likely situation as service
Remember when Destiny 1 was supposed to be a 10-year game? Oh my god, I actually missed the first Destiny.
Games, games, some of these services couldn't even last a year, such as Apex Legends Mobile, which won't be refunding any microtransaction purchases because EA are cunts. Battlefield
Like,
Mobile
the first Destiny
didn't even
had a
make
lot
it
of
to
potential,
completion,
but they
going
just
limp during the
they gave
testing
up on
phase
it
in a
just to
case of
build
premature
Destiny 2, and now,
extermination. While it will remain playable online and might not fit the strictest definition of a service game, Turtle Rock announced there'll be no more content for Back 4 Blood, the rather tepid
Final
Left
Fantasy
4
4
Dead
only just
clone
made it
that
to that
launched
mark
in
recently,
2021.
And they
Some
struggled
have added
in the
this to
beginning,
service
too,
body
so-
count, but hey, it got 3 expansions, which is more than we can say for all the failures that promised years of constant support. Rumbleverse
Oh,
was,
Back 4
by
Blood,
all
you had
accounts, a genuine
so
shame,
much
earning
going
way
for
more
you in the
attention
beginning.
than most of these other service games
screwed it
following
up.
its announcement that it was ending, and that dramatically, every purchase players had made was being refunded. I've been told Rumbleverse was good,
Wow.
a well-made battle royale brawler that deserved a longer life.
They're gonna be
I
one of the
wouldn't
few.
know. I hadn't
They're gonna be one of the few that's gonna refund money. They're gonna be one of the very few. They rose from the ashes, but they were like, yeah, because it's like they had someone in charge that was like very determined, very passionate, and it's like, if all you're thinking about is corporate bullshit, and you're in charge of making this service, this game. Rumble versus art style, I think, worked against it. Yeah, I never got into it. It's like, we keep getting flooded with these online multiplayer games, and it's like, most people just want to stick to one or two. We don't have time to put in the work for like 20 a day.
heard of it until it closed. And that's the thing, isn't it? I literally cover the game industry, and Rumbleverse's existence passed me by, as did the existence of practically every game shuttered this week, most of which gained more fame in
Knockout
death
City is
than
gonna have an
life.
offline version.
Granted, I might not follow as closely as I used to.
It's just weird, some
because,
games
according to much
that
of
are
the
supposed to be
internet over this past
online
weekend, I hate video
aren't
games and shouldn't
built
review them anymore. But even so,
have
I've
an offline
neither the
mode.
capacity nor inclination
fucking
to
weird.
keep up with the mass of battle royales, looter shooters, and mobile slop that spreads like the Martian's red weed in pursuit of that perfect circle. Because, like I told you earlier, I told you so. I said, back when live services were just starting to become trendy, that filling the marketplace with services that required dedications, devotions even, of time and money were a bad idea. Back in, like, what, 2016 I issued this warning? And once again, none of these dummies listened to the Cassandra of video games. Say what you will about my qualifications to review a Dead Space remake, but when it comes to predicting the trajectory of gaming market trends, I've never once failed to accurately call my shots. And as I try to stress every time, it's not because I'm clever or blessed with preternatural foresight. I'm just a dum-dum with perfect skin and a great rack. No, I merely think about things for more than a few seconds. Just long enough to see the obvious end
Hell
result
yeah.
of plans built on the kind of logic you'd find at Wacky Land. Live services are, by design, massive time sinks. Their gameplay loops are structured to create addicted players, and player progress is slow to a grinding crawl in order to keep players in their game ecosystems as long as possible, which will of course let them sell time-skipping microtransactions. The job-like nature of this interminable grind is further emphasized by login bonuses, as well as daily and weekly challenges to entice the audience back every day for as long as possible. Time limits are another favored tactic. Stuff like temporary XP boosts or in-game events are a great way to ensure players stick around or risk losing out on rewards, a philosophy carried over into the seasonal nature of battle passes. Keep playing, keep logging in, keep grinding, keep engaging, even if it's just for the sake of engagement, and, of course, keep spending. All this is to say that a service game is a job, a time sink,
Yes!
an
Oh my god, it
attention-dominating
felt...
locus of hyperfocus.
That's what it's like. That's kind of what made me burn out on like Apex and like Overwatch just went down the shitter. But it's like I just started getting burnt out. Like, I felt like I should be getting paid to play these fucking games. Because it just felt too much like work. I was having less and less fun.
You see the problem, right? Of course you do. Even a dum-dum with perfect skin and a great rack can see the problem with dozens and dozens of job-like games utterly saturating the market. See, the fantasy of live services generating infinite revenue only works if you forget that the audience's time and money is not infinite. I was right years ago when I said a gold rush of games demanding everyone's finite time and money was stupid. The live service craze flooded the market with full-time grinding and companies expected to roll in the perpetual profit. Even a fucking imbecile could tell you that there are only 24 hours in a day and that most people don't even have a fraction of that time to play games. This is getting more and more true as folks are overworked and underpaid to an extreme degree, all while the CEOs responsible for exhausting and disenfranchising their employees wonder why nobody's buying enough of their unaffordable
Overwatch, they really
anymore.
screwed themselves over even more when they did that.
These were fucking morons and not job-creating geniuses the whole time, huh? There aren't enough players to go around, not enough time in the day for an entire industry of games as services, but the fucking morons in charge were too drunk on the promise of Ubisoft's Ouroboros. There was only ever room for a handful of successful service games. It's logistically, physically impossible to sustain more than that, but nobody ever considered how unsustainable it was, even as I yelled from the rooftops that it was literally, obviously unsustainable. Market saturation is a huge issue for games that aren't daily grind fests, let alone ones that are. And it's not like we haven't already been here. The live service graveyard overlooks a mass grave of MMOs that thought they too could ride the circle. Time and time again, we've seen the result of companies thinking they'll replicate the success of a game if they replicate the game itself. And they're surprised every single time that real life doesn't actually fucking work that way. You're not guaranteed Fortnite money if you pitifully copy Fortnite and expect to be rich. Just ask Radical Heights. Oh wait, you can't, because it fucking died. It died on arrival and rotted in embarrassment and should have served as one of dozens of teachable moments for the game industry, but taught fuck all because the game industry refuses to ever learn a fucking thing. I can't help thinking back to what we talked about when Marvel's Avengers detonated its roadmap. Thinking of that time Square Enix said its HD game releases would have been profitable in 2020 if it wasn't
yeah, that's
for
what I'm
that
saying.
live
It's like,
service
I love the
albatross.
game,
If they
I love
just
playing
stuck
it,
to massively popular
but I just got
single-player
so
games like
burnt
Final
out trying to
Fantasy
keep up with
Remake.
battle
It's
pass
funny.
stuff.
Corporations
It took the
are
fun out of it
destructively
eventually.
risk-averse these days as desperation to uphold the lie of perpetual growth has reached a critical
Speaking
breaking
of
point.
Apex,
And
hold
yet
on.
they're too fucking blinded.
I'm so pissed because I don't know if you heard, but oh my god, apparently they canceled a game they were making, a Titanfall game. It's like, it was supposed to be like a Titanfall and Apex game. It was like supposed to tie them even more together to like show off the fact that they're in the same universe. Like, I don't know all the details about what came out about that game, but everyone that loved Titanfall and Apex, oh my god, it's just, oh, it's so, I'm so fucking sad about that.
By that self-same desperation to see that their perfect circles, their guarantees of easy recurrent revenue, are the real risk. We've seen
Another
time and time
Titanfall game
again that
killed by Apex.
publishers like
I
the
don't know
black
what
holes
killed
of
it.
Object
I
Permanence
honestly
they
don't.
are, have been consistently surprised at
I
the
don't know what
success of
killed
their
it, like, what their
single-player
excuse is
storytelling
now.
games. Remember how shocked EA was that Jedi Fallen Order did well for them? When game makers make games, people who play games play them. Of course, not every game is a guaranteed success, but it's more dependable than committing to massively expensive online services that promise years of support and require 24/7 oversight to keep running. Why not ask Anthem? Oh, wait. Live services are so much fucking work to make and maintain. But they never think about that because they're dumb. Just sell games, you sellers of games. It's what made y'all rich in the first place, but you explicitly want to forget that, don't you? You want to forget that because dependable income isn't enough when you've promised your shareholders the world and you've run out of world to carve up. You'll just keep chasing perfect circles, as you have done for years, chasing and not looking where you're going. I was right about live services. as I was right about all the previous short-sighted trends. I always am.
I don't understand why the games new
Not
media keeps
because
trying
I'm
to say
smart,
single player
but
narrative
because
games
I'm
are
just
dead.
that tad bit smarter than
They-
the dumbasses
they just
chasing
sound-
their perfect
they just
circles
sound
over the edge
dumb.
of a goddamn cliff.
Like, they
It's
just
fucking
sound so out of
grotesque.
touch.
Anyway, that really is all
Like,
I've got
you're
for
really,
you today.
all
For
you're
this
really
week's
saying with
episode.
that bullshit is that you're
It was
not an
just a
actual
victory
gaming
lap.
journalist. You don't
The
actually
topic
play
was going to be
games.
something else, but then all of those closures happened, and it was just the perfect time to remind you that once again, I called it. That's the point. It's always the point. I've got my... Speaking of point, I just put my fingerprints on the glass. Fucking hell, it's bad enough the kids do it. Anyway, I'm going, because I'm right. God damn it.
As usual. As usual.
Fuck. Thank God for me. You can all go now.
I love the endings of these videos so much.
I can't even see in this fucking thing.
Oh, another good one. Another good one. Oh, thank God for you indeed. Oh, man. I loves the Jimquisition show. I can't. Oh. Yeah, it's just a narrative they're trying to drive. Like, I'm pretty sure majority of the so-called quote-unquote game journalists usually say whatever they're paid to say and have no idea what the fuck game industry is like about and what gamers actually are talking about and want. It's stupid.